Well, good morning, it's me again. Now, I'm still at Rob's place, and every time he turns to us, I've got something else to show you, so bear with me on this. There's going to be part 1, part 2s, part 3s, and part everything. But I'd love to see all of his equipment anyway, and that's not being rude. Let's get on with this video. Cheerio for now. Right, once again we're with Rob Andrews from Kent, and you've seen his previous videos now, and of him chatting about his history and his family history and whatnot. Now we're going to get round to one of his sheds. Now in this video we're going to do one shed because this is just crammed full of bits and bobs, and Rob's going to take me through it. And if you like the video, I've said before, give it a thumbs up for me, and if you haven't already, think about subscribing. Helps the channel out no end, and we can get round to doing a bit more like this sort of thing. Anyway, Rob, we're in your #1 shed, is it?
Yeah, workshop shed. Yeah, it's where I do the restoration and bits and pieces, where I can got my tools and bits and bobs. But yeah, at the moment it's more sort of like storage really, because I'm not restoring anything as such.
Well, you say storage. We've been in here about half hour now, and I keep trying to turn the camera on, and Rob says, "Oh, you seen this?" No. Have you seen that? And then something catches my eye, and well, and I've just said to him, we've got to put the camera on now, Rob, because let's share this. What's that? Right. So, you spoke about the 35.
Yeah. So that's the 35. That's my first ever tractor that I did.
Do you want to stand right next to it to be proud of what you got there? That's fantastic, Rob.
So 20. What are we going to go back now? 24 years ago. That was finished. Like I say, it was in the previous video. This is the first one I ever restored. Was sold by Lenfield Farm Machinery, who is now where Haynes Transit Centre is in Maidstone, to a farm out of Lenham in Sandway, and that's where I bought it from all them years ago. And then so that was my tractor step from stationary engines.
No, to look at it, I mean, it's better than when it's come out of the factory, obviously, because. You must be so proud of it. The wheels, the tyres, the metalwork, the ploughing light on the back of it, and everything else. And
yeah, it's all original. The registration number on the back is a bit of a weird one. I get a question that if I take it to the shows, because it's a K on the wrong end means I think it's 1972. And the history with this tractor. Now I've got the tax disc from '72. And the number plate, it was used for 1 year, well, road registered for 1 year to pull the float for Lenham Carnival, and that's why it's got a later registration. That's a '62. It's got a '72 registration on it. So yeah, I get that quite a bit. It's a bit late, you know, but that's what it was used for. Yeah. That's the only time I ever went on the road. Used to do a bit of topping and tow a track round for a shoot, a track trailer.
Do you get it out at all?
Yeah, in the summer we take it out. I've got the drawbar on it. I put one of those 50mm balls on the back, and then come put the little cage trailer on, take the sides out, kids sit in there, and we just go off driving around, go for a drive and see the countryside. There's
nothing better, especially on a summer's evening, that sort of thing, and you could be back in the 60s, back in the 50s, couldn't you?
Yeah, you pick your routes and it looked the same, 100 years ago. But, sorry, it's the beer fridge coming on.
That's it, we like the beer fridge, that's nothing wrong with it. And right next door to it, we've got a green machine.
Yeah, so that was a later purchase. I bought this about 3 or 4 years ago now. Always liked them because they're a little bit different. Early, obviously, that's the newest tractor that I've got. This is back 1937, 36. This is.
Is it twin cylinder? Is it?
2-cylinder, 5.4 litre. Starts on petrol, runs on kerosene. So you grab the flywheel, pull it over, and that's how you start it.
Really?
A couple of decompressor cocks on each of the cylinders so you can pull it over. You've got the belt on that side, so you can use it for flat belt driving, wherever you wanted to.
And it's got the mag on the side of it there, obviously.
That's it, little Wyco. 2-cylinder. Yeah.
Now, is it, as I call them, an old thumper, is it, sort of thing? Does it?
A lot of people call them Johnny Poppers because they sometimes pop and bang through the exhausts. They've got a very odd exhaust note because they're only 2-cylinder. Yeah. But the crank is 180 degrees out, so it fires like bam bam, misses, and then bam bam, so it fires together. It's not yeah, it's a strange sound.
Yeah, but I mean, when we talk about the old stationary engines, they call them hit and misses because every now and again they'd miss a couple of strokes and fire again. Is that the same sort of thing?
No, not with this. No, it fires all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, evenly for the setup of the engine. But the hit and miss engines, yeah, they were done on governor.
Okay. Now, what sort of horsepower are we talking about? We know the 35, but we don't know the John Deere because it's not as popular as the Fergusons, are they?
No, the difference with petrol kerosene engine. I think it's around about 32 horsepower, something like that. Yeah. But
the torque-wise, with an opposing cylinder like that, it will pull.
Yeah, it does. It pulls incredibly hard.
Yeah.
It sounds nice when it's doing it. Yeah, you can really hear the. It doesn't rev particularly high.
No.
You know, about 1200 RPM, but yeah, it will just keep them pulling and pulling and pulling.
Now I see the front radiator. It's got some sort of pull-out thing on the front of it. Is it for cold starting or?
Yeah. So because with a kerosene engine and the exhaust here, that heats up the air coming in from the carburettor when it's running on kerosene. Vaporizer needs to be kept warm. The whole engine needs to be kept up to a warm running temperature, so otherwise you get misfires, oil dilution, because it's not burning the kerosene properly. Kerosene being a bit more oily than petrol. So yeah, you shut off the grill at the front here, which has got all louvers, which is what this rod does.
Oh, you do that from the seat on the tractor?
And there's a thermometer there, so you can see where it does take a long time if you're not working it to get it up into that temperature range. But yeah, keeping it shut like that, then it doesn't pull the air through the radiator and cool itself down. But yeah, it's one of those things you just have to watch and, you know, with the machine as you use it.
Now, was it a box of bits when you bought it, or was it in reasonable condition?
It wasn't too dissimilar to what you see it here, but it had a lot of engine problems. And the push rod tubes had corroded through. They separate, or two inner ones, they separate the water jacket around the cylinder head from the actual push rods coming through to operate the valves. They both corroded through, so if you put any water into it, it just fill up the sump with water. So yeah, the head had to come off, and you can actually still buy those, strangely enough, from John Deere direct. Really? They still make them, yeah. And they're instead of being steel, which corrodes, they now make them in brass.
Now, being an American tractor, they call them fenders on the back of it. We call them wings or wheel arches or something. Now, was they as is, or was they rotten? Because they always rot out.
No, that's as I got it. So the actual tractor is a bit of an odd one, really, because the American tractors that come across, they use a different tyre size on the back, and this has had when it was actually purchased, it came with what's called basically English wheels. So they use the same size tyres.
I'm going to try and get round your shed.
It's difficult because it's a bit crammed in at the moment. But those cast wheels on the back.
And I haven't got my gimbal set up today because I've turned into a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, go on.
So those cast wheels there allow you to use the English tyres, which we used over here like on our standard Fordsons and things like that, which are the same.
Now these tyres, they're original, aren't they? Because they've got the tread on them, which are around the right era.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, Rob, because I'm stumbling with my words today.
No, that's all right. Yeah, they're closed block tread patterns, so they are as old as the tractor, more or less. Yeah. So that's what they used to look like, the tractor tyres, as opposed to the one right next to it, which is the modern version we see today.
But it's in keeping with the tractor.
Yes, it is,
And you were saying about this flywheel where you've put it on.
Yeah. As you can see, it's marked, so you can pull it over, because obviously it's quite a big engine, even with the decompressor cocks, which are these, open to lower the compression. It's still quite a lump to pull over. So you have to get it into the right position and then give it a good hard pull by literally grabbing that flywheel. There's all finger holes in the back of it, so you can sort of grip it.
Well, it sounds like a finger breaker to me.
This thing's so reliable. It doesn't matter what temperature you do it in, it just starts.
Right. Yeah. I think that's probably why John Deere got quite a name for themselves, even up to the modern day with all the new Chinese tractors coming across. People who've been with John Deere stick with John Deere, don't they, really?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, like I mentioned, standard Fordson English tractor is half the cost of this.
Yes.
But this is slightly bigger tractor, bit more horsepower. You know.
Once again, I'm going to try and get past all. Oh, and I've got an habit of that, falling over. Yeah, so we're going to clamber past this somehow,
Well, I think probably the best thing to do is if we take the motorbike out, because that needs an MOT today at 3 o'clock. So we'll get that out. I do need it out of the way, and we'll get the ride on out of the way, and then you can see the
fantastic.
the other bits.
Well, we'll pause the video there, shall we?